Hi, my name is Chandler Henderson, and I'm a 2024 Cure Fellowship recipient for my research 400 Year Nightmare under the mentorship of Dr. Camilla Mortenson. It should also be noted that I conducted research for the same project as a McNair Fellow in summer 2023 and winter 2023, funded by Ducks Rise, also under the mentorship of Dr. Camilla Mortenson and Dr. Ed Madison. As I am majoring in journalism and minoring in cartoons and comic studies, I am very interested in sharing this information in non conventional mediums, specifically comics. This comic strip was produced for the McNair Fellowship in summer 2023, but is an example of the style I am trying to cultivate. These 5 slides represent a summer of work and travel, effectively displaying a trip around the US and back to UO campus. The diagram on the right represents a small amount of planning I've done for a comic based on Sarah Collins, survivor of the 16th Street bombing, September 15th, 1963. Much of my time was spent researching her notes, watching interviews, and interacting with information I gathered from her in prior visits. This project is ongoing, and I intend on involving Miss Collins as much as possible in making sure the story is 100% accurate.
Uh, September 15th, 1963, we was on our way 16th Street Baptist Church. They was gonna have a youth day program. Our sister Janie, Ed, and I, we walked to the church that morning. We were so happy because we were going to do the thing that the adults usually do. That morning we was gonna sing in the choir. So as we walked, we was having such a good time. Janie had a little purse, and we were throwing at kids and just laughing all the way to church. And when we arrived, we went down into the basement and freshened up. So while I was in the basement, so she went on upstairs to her class first. So Ed and I, we stayed in the ladies' lounge. We decided to just wait till our class turned out since we was late. So while I waited, I was looking out the door, and all of a sudden I seen Cynthia Wesley and Niece McNair and Carol Robinson. They came into the church, into the ladies' lounge. They spoke to us and they went on to the other side to use the restroom. So when they came out, Niece McNair was in front of the girls. She walked over to Addie and she asked my sister to tie the sash on her dress. And when she reached her hand out to tie it, I heard a loud sound. Boom! The bomb went off. So we didn't get a chance to see her tie it.
Another large part of my research involves looking through old newspapers from the early 1900s and tracing my family through journalism. I've discovered that my third and fourth maternal great grandfathers were well documented in Florida and Georgia, and I've spent considerable time researching them. The next few slides will tell their story from the viewpoint of the state. True to form, I went down at least one rabbit hole that provided me little usable content. Part of that rabbit hole was researching a writer named Charles Bertrand Lewis, pen name M. Quad, who New York Times still calls the most successful humorist. During the turn of the century, humorists would write what some would call comedy. However, most of the writing that M. Quad did was to poke fun at recently freed Africans, natives fighting wars against new settlers, or women. I'd say this doesn't fit my research because I cannot confirm the gentleman who M. Quad is writing about in this article is in fact Squire Henderson. However, considering his writing style, I can surmise that it is my ancestor, Squire Henderson. Regardless, this is an interesting part of American history and one I don't think we should forget. A potentially devastating setback I suffered this year was the death of my father. My father was not present in my life and refused to share information about my family with me. However, in his death, I can connect with that side of the family and learn of my ancestors. One of those ancestors is my great grandmother times four, Ida Ward, born into slavery in South Carolina. Once again, I find there is a surprising amount of journalism written about her, and I've attached an interview conducted with her in 1950. I've also attached a video of a house that's been in my family for four generations, with my uncle, who I'm named after. In this video, we are meeting for the first time.
This is 5 generations.
Nice.
That's Ida Ward. She was born into slavery. I think she was maybe 10 or 12, emancipation. And she eventually made her way to Providence, mainly because of the church we were in today. She knew members of that church, so she ended up here. That's her daughter. That's her daughter. That's my grandmother. That's my father's mother. That's my father's sister, and that's my cousin Wilbur. Wilbur was a gangster. He was crippled at 15. They ran a stolen car up into a telephone pole.
Oh, he was in the car?
Yeah, he was driving.
Oh, man.
So he was in a wheelchair the rest of his life, but that never stopped him from being a gangster.
So let me also just real quick, let me tell you about the book that I'm working on. It's called 400 Year Nightmare.
Oh, that guy, that's my grandfather. He graduated from RISD
Nice.
Wow.
back in the 20s.
Oh my gosh.
And his sister also graduated from RISD.
And
That's my mother. This is all my mother. Big guy.
he's got the cane, right? Yeah.
That's Jeffrey. That's Johnny. That's my mother's mother. They call this the pregnant picture.
Was your pregnant woman there?
Who's that? That's Aunt Lanier. She's pregnant. My grandmother's not pregnant. My mother's pregnant. Aunt Joanne's pregnant. And Aunt Elsie's pregnant.
Wow.
Wow.
So Johnny's not in that. Just me. I'm in there. I'm sitting on my grandfather's lap.
Wow.
But that was out in the yard. They used to get all dressed up for a picnic, a cookout in the yard.
Nice.
That's awesome.
That's him.
Oh my gosh. That smile.
He hates that picture.
That's definitely an excited kid.
He told me don't put. Wow, the funny thing is that was my 12th birthday party.
I love the tree. That is.
Yeah, I'm a
my
December
mom,
kid.
My mom would love that.
Well, that was a club
Picture of a tree.
my father belonged to. That's my grandfather. That's the Dr. John W. McCrae Sr.
Oh wow.
And that's my grandmother and my Aunt Lil. my father's youngest sister. My father had two sisters, Jane and Lil. Jane died during the war. She had TB.
Mm. Oh man, I gotta get a good back crack.